Hey everyone, I'm Lal-ain and welcome to Lal-ain's Diary. So today, you know what day is today, right? Today is a day that we celebrate to honor those guiders who are the reason of what we are today. Our respected teachers, today is Teachers' Day. It sure has been some time since I've scheduled something for Lal-ain's Diary. Long time no see. You all must be aware of today's topic. But let's start from 2020 and not today. Since 2020, you all know that we have been stuck in pandemic, and it's clear that all of us were affected by it. Many people have gone through the pain that the virus caused. Now that things have been normalized a little and people are slowly coming back to their life as they were before, but consuming all of this in does take some time. Now, when we look at these sort of conditions around the world and analyze it, we would be able to see how not only some or most, but all of us have suffered the pain caused by the virus. And still, we can't say that the time we spent in the pandemic is over because we still are being faced by different situations. This lengthy process. I bet this or the previous generation probably would have never imagined about the thing we call pandemic. We weren't prepared for it. But now the perspective is different. We as humans should know how to deal with this pandemic thing because if it continues another year or if we have to live with the after effects of the lockdown, we should know how we can turn the situation into our benefit. Today, our topic for discussion is also the same, that there is no gain without pain. Your struggle and hard work is what's called life. Let's invite Saraziz Sheikh into our discussion. So, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much for your invitation.
So, as our topic today, no gain without pain, we'll be discussing about the problems first. We'd like to listen you as well.
Sure.
Okay, so before starting our discussion, if I can share my experience as a teenager or as a student, the problems that I faced from the pandemic. You see, when the school doors were closed for us, for all the students, and our studies were announced to be held online from then on, the situation was new, and many people who didn't have gadgets were facing problems as well. Even the teachers who were also facing this new thing called online classes. Nobody was used to taking online classes, and many people didn't even knew how to join the classes. So those students and those teachers are trying to get used to the new changes, which probably wasn't something that we can say easy. So what do you think those students and those teachers are trying their best to get used to this online classes in this pandemic and staying at home? What do you think about this?
Thank you very much, Lal-ain. It's a very good question. In order to answer this question, we must analyze the situation, right?
Yes.
Pandemic not only hit Pakistan. Pandemic did not hit Pakistan only. It hit entire world, right? So every country, they try to come up with the solution, what they think were good for that country, right? However, modern and developed countries, they believe in technology. And they know how to use the having this whenever new technology in market, they go understand, then they train others as well. However, in Pakistan, things are a little bit different. They use this technology for game purpose, right? They are not using this technology for learning purpose. So the difference between, let's say, in UK and in Pakistan, the biggest difference is this. Here, teachers were also not trained how to deliver online classes. They were not trained. They didn't know. Same situation in Pakistan because teachers were not aware of it. However, here in UK, they knew about the technology. They knew about Zoom. They knew about Google Classroom. They understand how to work on Google Worksheet and all that stuff. They understand that because they've been working on this. And in a classroom, they deliver their lesson on a smart board. So they know, let's say, if I say, if the teacher had the basic understanding of working with the technology, around 60 to 70%, all they to deliver successful online classes. Whereas in Pakistan, nobody knows how to work on a Google documents, how to work on a Zoom, and who to blame. I don't know if you remember uh, when there was a first lockdown, after the first lockdown in Pakistan, when they were opening, we did a workshop on how to do, are we ready? In that workshop, I predicted that it's going to last for years to get to normalize. And then the government of Pakistan give us 83-point SOPs. Hand on a heart, everybody claim that the schools are the places where they follow 100% SOPs. Okay, I'll take their words. But when I see so-called schools private association leaders, when they are having their meetings, they are not wearing face covering. There is no social distance. So if school leaders are doing this, how come I believe that they will be doing things in a school? That's the one thing. Secondly, I have visited lots of schools in Pakistan during the pandemic. When I talked to them about the sanitizer, they said, oh, sorry, sir, we don't have a sanitizer. It is a water and we put Dettol in it. So everything is not the right thing, you know. That's the second thing. And the third thing, which is very important, I'm going to give you a one example, right? Try to understand this. Have a room and there are 4 different doors to that room. And in the middle of that room, there is one plant. So there are 4 people, they must water that plant for at least 10 years. After 10 years, every person will get the benefit from the fruit of that plant. So every day, one person from each door have to enter in that room and have to put water into that plant. So if anybody does not do their job properly, that plant will get dry, won't be able to give a fruit. That's what actually a student is. There are 4 different stakeholders which are attached to student. Number 1, parent. Number 2, teacher. Number 3, society. Number 4, school management. If they are not doing their job, how can they expect to know this all new online classes? They never told them. They never explain thing to them. School failed to give training to their teacher. Society failed to accept that things are changing. And our politician and government and policy makers, they fail to give the direction. So if we are expecting student will know everything by themselves, that is, I don't know. They must be living in some different world. So you must go through the pain cycle. You have to go through that pain cycle if you want to get some gain. So my question to your answer is that all these 5 stakeholders, they must come together. So you as a student get the best.
Well, I totally agree with you because you see, the pandemic not only hit it Pakistan, it hit around the globe. And if we see you are in UK and I'm in Pakistan, and if we uh, take both situations and analyze it, combine it, we can see that in your country, people are used to Zoom and online classes, but here we aren't. Even I wasn't. And I was really new to this whole thing, to Zoom. I didn't even know how to use it. You see, the teachers here are not trained to use Zoom and online classes. They're trained to be like teaching in a normal classroom. But since when the pandemic news hit it here, we all were in complete shock. We were like, what's going to happen now? Are we not going to go to school anymore? And when the schools were closed, our exams were actually near. And we were never got the chance to give the exams. We never got the chance to give the assignments and the assessments. And we were promoted to another grade. And not only this happened in our school, it happened around many schools in Pakistan. So the question here stands, are exams and assignments and the tests and the pressure that you give to the student, are exams really not that important that you just promoted the student into another grade? And if we compare it to on your country, the students in your country, did that same happen there as well?
Thank you very much, Lal-ain. Actually, there are a couple of things. Assessments are important, but there are 2 different types of assessment. One is formative assessment and second one is summative assessment, right? So they are 2 different. Here in UK, every child was promoted. Even we didn't have any GCSE exams. They were promoted, but they were promoted, the grades which they were given, they were given by their teachers, not by the examination board. So teachers understand which student have what caliber. They know because they are not just doing, here in UK, most assessments are done summatively. Formative assessment. Teacher is assessing student on a regular basis. So they have the clear picture of their student, how well they are performing. In Pakistan, nobody knows what formative assessment is because everybody believes in summative assessment. End of the year, we will do this. End of the year, we will. My question is this. Once you are unable to finish your curriculum, how are you going to ask a child for the assessment? Teachers have not done their job. Teachers are not trained to deliver online classes. Students are not trained. They don't understand online classes. Parents are unaware of how to get involved in online education. So why are you giving assessment? Why are you giving taking exam? This is the very idiotic things to do. Here in UK, They said, oh no, we will conduct the exam, but the pressure was so high, they have to U-turn, and they said, no, we will believe in teachers, and because teachers understand student, they know which student is at what caliber, and they give the grades, and they will accept the grades. So in Pakistan, here, the funniest thing is, here, Cambridge, GCSE is the home of UK, right? In Pakistan, they said, no, we're going to conduct the exam of Cambridge, O levels or level. That started here in UK, and UK has said, no, they're not going to take an exam. How come Shafqat Mahmood or all these educationists in Pakistan, minister, exam, when they have not done the exam in UK? I don't understand. It's just the putting pressure or to telling parents or everyone, oh, we know everything, but unfortunately, you don't know nothing. So that is, so the students should not be under pressure because teachers have not completed the curriculum. There is no clear direction to teachers. There are no clear direction to students, no clear direction for parents. That's, as I said, 5 stakeholders. You have to involve everyone so student can get the benefit. Now what happened in a secondary exam? They just give supplementary numbers to pass the student. Why? Why you have to put through all this student to that process, and you are giving a supplementary numbers to pass the student? So there is, I'm sorry, there is no such data. Everyone is confused, unfortunately.
Well, everyone surely is confused. I mean, who would know what to do in this sort of situation? It's pandemic, it's lockdown, it's COVID, it's virus everywhere, and everything is totally upside down. And about actually, it's prayer time right now. That's why
Okay,
if we can mute the
we
session for
can,
a bit.
yeah, we will continue later on. No worries.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're back from the break. Now, could you remind me from where did we left off? I think I kind of forgot.
Okay, we were talking about this policies and all that stuff. See, in our workshop which we conducted, we mentioned that because curriculum is not being delivered. We also talk about that there must be a deep learning and curriculum it should be shortened. So student can have a deep understanding of the topics which are important. And these topics which are left, then teachers and the school management should give extra support to children to cover those topics when they promoted in another classes. So that was it. We talk about simple things. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, people don't want to make things simple. They want to make things difficult for everyone. You must, the simple things are easy for everyone, for student, for parent, for schools, for everyone. It's easy. But we love making things difficult.
And why is that? I don't understand. Why is it to make everything so difficult for everyone?
Because they don't have a clear picture. They don't have any policies. They don't think about the future. They make things as, in Pakistan, you get when you're running out from your phone balance, you go and top it up, right? Here we do the same thing. We have top up things, but in Pakistan, we also have a correct school for a telephone. But in Pakistan, government or these policy maker, they are not this. Oh, we will do it as and when. Okay, today we have this, let's sort it out today. Don't worry about future. So that is the reason things get difficult. If they have a clear picture, how they're gonna do this after 1 year. See, this is it's been almost 18 months now. We are still in a pandemic. Here in UK, last week, 200 students, 200,000 students absent from school due to COVID. Now, what are the policies in Pakistan for children? How they going, when they will get vaccinated? What is the procedure? How they going to, what are the social distance? They said the school follows 100% SOPs. I'm sorry, this is not the case. These ministers, they don't go in schools. And in Pakistan, there is a school in every street. They don't have a force, they don't have a team who can go to school, visit school, look at the things. They don't have these things. So they said, okay, we will do. Last time when Saeed Ghani was a prime educational minister, when they came out from the lockdown, they said, I'm gonna go and visit. He visited few schools, that's it. And one after that, we don't know. There is no clear direction. That's why things get difficult. If you have a clear direction, when you have stakeholder together, you come up with the same plan, everybody knows what to do. That is the challenge in Pakistan. That's why things get difficult.
Okay, so things get difficult, as you are saying. And in UK, it is much more easier comparing to Pakistan. You say that
Oh, yeah.
online studies is like a solution for this pandemic, especially for students. Most studies are, blocked because schools are closed. What do you think are the effects of it? How does it affect positively or negatively on the student? Because you see, when we take an online class, there are many online classes in Pakistan. When we take it, there is not an option for the student to ask question or to show their faces, or either there are pre-recorded videos of different teachers who are explaining stuff on their whiteboard, and then they send the video to us on social media of our official site for our school. And I think this is the biggest problem, because when I took some of the classes, I wasn't able to understand a thing. And when my siblings, they were like, we want to take online classes, our teachers have said this and this, and there were notes on their diaries. But whenever we tried to join it, there were different sorts of problems, either from our side or from the teacher's side. So I think that the negative impact the online classes are giving is first the internet connection. It's not really good from any of the sides. And then secondly, we are not allowed to ask any sorts of questions, because the Zoom setting or any online platform that they use, there is not an option for the student to ask question. And the chat is disabled, because if the chat is open, there are many students, they could be talking, and their attention would be out of the study. So what do you think? What are the effects of it?
Lal-ain, the first thing is we must understand the basic fundamental of online study, online education. We must have a clear picture of philosophy of online education. If we don't understand the philosophy, or if we don't have a basic mental of online education, obviously there will be challenges for students, there will be challenges for teachers. First thing, education cannot be done in isolation, number one. Number two, if you are not giving opportunity to students to ask questions, then obviously students gonna go to the road direction, rectification, and teachers are having an easy life by disabling everyone that they cannot ask the questions, right? If the way I conduct my training online is this: first, teacher must know how to use PowerPoint, number one, right? Number two, teacher must have a control on teacher must control the meeting. There must be
These
clear
controls should
rules.
be in the hands of the teacher, the admin.
Exactly. There must be clear rules. We don't know any rules. Teachers don't know how to use PowerPoint. Number two, some teachers are, most of the teachers are using their mobile phone to give online classes. Hang on, you cannot deliver online classes using your mobile phone. You must have a laptop or computer if you want to give an online class. They have made this joke because they don't understand the basic fundamental of online classes. Other biggest challenge, as you mentioned, is the internet, right? Third big challenge is that even in the UK, not every house have every house. Right? Same challenge in Pakistan. However, internet connection here is better compared to Pakistan. Thirdly, same challenge. Students are not used to of having online classes. Parents are not used to be sitting with their children when the classes are delivered. So we are having the same challenges, here in the UK and in the Pakistan. However, in UK, parents do take little bit of responsibility when it comes to the teachers, children's education. Not all of them, some parents do take it very seriously. How many parents in Pakistan, they take this matter seriously? Because as far as I remember, parents start their breakfast around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. They are sleeping till 11 o'clock. So obviously, if a parent is sleeping at 11 o'clock, they are not serious about their children's education. What they do first thing, oh, come on, rush, you have to go to the school, you have to do it. More than 80% children get slapped before they come to the school, or they didn't have their breakfast, because children don't go to sleep, to the bed. They are awake till 2 o'clock at night. No rules. There is nothing. Nobody is serious, unfortunately. Moving forward, positive, you ask me, what would the positive? I think the positive thing is this: a student get more creativity. They will have more research skills. They will know how to look for, they will do the analysis of this topic. Negative, social impact. Children will not have the social impact. Schools are social places because children from different backgrounds, they meet in the school, they have fun, they have a laugh. So online, that is the biggest negative, which I think is that the students will not get. But moving forward, how we gonna come up with the solution. Solution is this: children must be allowed to go to school for maybe 3 days, and two must join their classes online, so they can have both ways, online and offline. God forbid if this pandemic get extended to another few years. We cannot accept children not getting education. We cannot do that. So in order to overcome this, student must have both ways, online and offline. There is, student must get vaccinated. Number two, closing schools are not options. That is not the option to close the school. Here in UK, school are the last one to get closed, where in Pakistan, schools are the first one to close. Here, it was lockdown, but they didn't close the schools. Schools were open. Children were going to their school. So these are the positives and the negatives. Because things are changing. We are in 21st century and things are going to change a lot. So we need to learn new technology. Classroom classes are very, that's how I got my education. That's how people are getting education these days as well. They are very good. But we need to learn how to get educated on our, we have, students must take their education responsibility. They should be taking their own responsibility. They cannot be depending on teachers or their parents or their siblings. They must take their education seriously. That's how we're going to move forward.
Okay, so taking your answer into consideration, what if I say that you are saying in this situation, everyone is the one to blame. Everyone has their own faults. Students, teachers, and all of the 5 stakeholders that you named, and I forgot the few ones. So I remember that I've read history. In the human history, there must have been many situations where there were World War One or plague, World War Two. There was these kind of situation in the human history as well. If we are not able to, handle this situation, then how were they able to? They still continued living on, even though at that time the technology wasn't really advanced than it is now. If they overcame that situation, then why can't we overcome this COVID-19? Why is it like that?
Very good question. See, if you look at the back history, unfortunately, our generation has not learned the lesson from the past. That's why we keep saying, learn lessons from your mistakes and then try not to repeat it. We, in developed countries, people are not from learning learning from the mistakes, right? Look at it. Even in modern countries, they are doing a lot. UK was the first one, I think, to come up with this vaccine. They are believing what they have learned. They have changed, they have learned from their mistake. But in Pakistan, why they haven't learned? Why we are unable to produce any philosopher, any scientist, or any think tanks in Pakistan? Because we don't believe in this. Even if we look at our deen, We were the first we were in Muslims. Muslims were the first who come with the algebra, formula, medical instrument. They were made by Muslims. Where are Muslims standing now? We are not learning from our, this is the biggest challenge. We just want to follow. We are not leaders. We just want to follow, and that's what we have been doing. Unfortunately, we've been following, and we just get relaxed. We love to waste time. We lie. We don't believe in hard work. We just say, oh, adjust kar lo yaar, adjust kar lo yaar, adjust kar lo. These, when we don't have a proper attitude. We don't have any rules. We let our children do whatever they want to do, which is good. But if you allow your son to do everything, why you are restricting your daughters to do things? So we are hypocrites. We have a hypocrisy in ourselves. That's why we are not moving forward. Whereas in developed country, they have learned. They know how to live with the COVID. Here in UK, they have all the restrictions. If you are, there is no social distancing in the UK, no face covering in the UK. You can sit, you can now about 300 to 400 gathering. There is no social, there is no restriction in UK because of the COVID. Government has taken everything away. 89%, 80% population of UK has been double vaccinated. Even though we are still having average 30,000 cases per day of COVID, what is happening in Pakistan? Why they did not produce their own vaccine? How come India has produced its vaccine? Because we are following, we are not leaders. And that is what's happening in our schools, in our colleges, in our universities. We have failed to produce, only producing followers. So that's why in Pakistan, they are not learning from their mistake. They are unable to cope with COVID. That is the reason. How come rest of the world is coping with the COVID? Why don't Pakistan? No policy, no thinking. आज कर लिया है, कल देखी जाएगी. That is the attitude.
Well, I think you are saying perfectly correct there. Your answer was very shocking at some point. I'm sorry, Isma was glitching.
No, you are all right. I can hear you now.
Okay. I was saying how brilliant your answer was, that we are not being leaders, we are actually being followers, and that's our mistake there. And I truly believe that we should not be following the same mistakes over and over again. But there is another one problem that I think teachers, students, and school, these three things are connected to each other. I agree that there are mistakes that we are following the same mistakes over. But what if I say that it's not all our fault of following? It's the fault of the stress and the pressure that we are under in as well. Despite the condition of the pandemic, the teachers are pressured that you should conduct classes, you should teach students, even though of the internet problems, device problems, and maybe there are problems from their families as well. student problems. They are still pressured that maybe the schools are closed, you still have to get good marks, you still have to go to school, you still have to complete every test or assignment that the teacher gives, you have to complete and join and be a part of every online class that the teacher is going to have. Then the school, they're also being pressured by the parents. The parents are very furious at this condition that their children aren't getting the perfect education at this point. The children are lacking skills. Their children are not able to get proper education at this point. What do you say about this?
Thank you very much, Lal-ain. I'm just gonna I'm gonna just put my camera off for a little bit because I'm getting a little getting this message that internet connection is not very good. So I'm gonna put the camera off, but
Sure.
I will answer your question, right? Now, my question is, can you explain me what is perfect education?
If I explain what is perfect education, then I'd say that in a perfect education, the atmosphere, you see, the teacher should play the main role in the education for children. Let's take myself for an example. Let's take myself. I go to school, I take education, but in my opinion, my experience from school wasn't really good. It wasn't. I was weak at one subject and I was blamed for it. And that is not what I call the perfect education. But after the pandemic hit and I started taking online classes from those teachers who I've probably never even met, those online teachers are teaching me that subject in which I'm weak in. And now I can perfectly score those tests in those subjects that I was once weak in when I go to school. And I think that's a perfect definition of education in which the teacher
Okay.
plays the main role.
Thank you very much, Lal-ain. In order to have a perfect education, right? Not just a perfect education, in every part of your life, there are 3 A's which plays a very important role. 3 A's.
3A.
First A is, First A is atmosphere. Second is attitude. And third is action. Perfect education will only be delivered if all 5 stakes, all holders are on one page. If any stakeholder is missing, you will not be able to give a perfect education. If you have not created an atmosphere, learning atmosphere, not just in a classroom, in your school as well, in your society as well, you cannot give a perfect education. Okay? You have created a perfect atmosphere. But if that atmosphere is not in the classroom, then you cannot give a perfect education. So atmosphere must be created in a society, in your school, and in a classroom. And now, who's going to create that atmosphere? In school, school management; in classroom, class teacher; and your society, your businessmen, everybody who is in a society, they must create that atmosphere as well. Now, in a classroom, teacher cannot create that atmosphere if that teacher is not qualified teacher, if that teacher has not mastered in his or her subject or in the curriculum, if that teacher does not have a lesson plan, if that teacher don't know how to control the classroom, you cannot create an atmosphere in a classroom. So if teacher fails to create that atmosphere, the attitude of teachers and the students will be not the positive one, it will be negative. Teacher doesn't know what to teach, student doesn't know what to learn. And whatever action teacher or student will take, that will be waste of time. That is the reason we have disabled society in our Pakistan, because we talk about big values. ओ जी झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. So झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Our parents, they lie. Our teachers, they lie. And you expect from students or from your children don't to lie? It's a hypocrisy, right? We put lots of Quran ki ayat classroom के अंदर, बड़ी बड़ी दीवारों के ऊपर पुरानी आयत लिखी हुई होती हैं. क्या कुरान इस पर्पस के लिए उतारा गया था कि उसकी आयतों को दीवारों के ऊपर लिखा जाए और उसके नीचे बैठ के वो झूठ बोला जाए? So that is the reason we are not able to create a perfect society. We have disabled society because we don't teach values in our schools, in our classes. So there is no perfect education in Pakistan because teachers are not trained. When teacher is not trained, if they don't know how to create a perfect learning atmosphere, how they gonna teach and how students gonna learn? So I hope this answer your question. 3 A's: atmosphere, attitude, and action. That creates a perfect education. And school, teachers, society must create these things.
Okay, so your camera is still off, but we
Yeah,
can hear
I'm
your
just,
voice. And I think that at the end you
yeah.
glitched a bit. If you can repeat those end sentences, please. I wasn't able to hear you.
I said that teachers, teacher, parent, society, school management, they must create that learning atmosphere.
Oh,
Then the attitude, then the teacher's attitude will be positive. They have an attitude of teaching, and student will have a positive attitude of learning. So whatever action they combine, take, learning will take place. You will bloom, you will grow, you will discover yourself. And you will learn the true values. We don't talk about, we talk about big values, but we do not portray it or our totally against those values. So that is the biggest challenge.
okay. I agree that this is a very big challenge. Not only that this challenge, as you said in the last sentence, that there is no perfect education, especially in Pakistan. These were all the problems that we discussed during the pandemic that we've all gone through. Now let's move on to another section of our discussion, that is the benefits that we gained from the pandemic. You see, there are many problems that we've discussed until now. There must be some benefits that we obviously gained from this
Oh, yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
You see, before the pandemic, I must admit that life was pretty busy and boring. Every day was the same: home, school, academy, and then back home, and then repeat. Each day, I had to be worried about my homework, the tests, the assignments, and my parents. They both are working parents, always busy with their office works. We barely had time to sit together and have some snacks and chat because of the tiredness and sleeping early was important. So we were like asleep at 8 and we had to wake up at 7. I don't even remember because it's been such a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time. But now, after the pandemic, everything is different because every day is not the same anymore. Even though I stay at home all day, there are many things and hobbies that I developed, like painting, cleaning, meditation, book reading, music producing, miniature art, cooking, maybe college work, collage work. I meant collage work, not college work, collage work. And these are not the only things. My parents can work home, and this is like work from home remotely. And we all sit together and laugh and chat. And the way I'm spending my time in this pandemic has made me realize that sometimes a few changes can be beneficial for you. My parents also realized how their work was consuming the time that they should be spending with me and my siblings. Family time and its importance. I learned it from the pandemic and the change that I had in the atmosphere. So, can you tell me one thing that you learned from the pandemic? And it should be positive.
Oh, thank you very much. Recently, I learned how to cook nihari. There you go.
Wow.
I now know how to make a nihari, and there are lots of benefit. I have learned a lot uh, how to deliver successful training online. I managed to deliver online training in remote areas of Azad Kashmir and in Lahore. I deliver I train 4 schools, teacher training all over the via in a pandemic online, and I am delivering the training. I have learned a lot with this pandemic. Yeah, there have been challenges. I'm not going to say there wasn't a challenge, but people who have their positive attitude, who have the clear direction, they have benefited from this pandemic. They have learned a lot from this pandemic. And people who say, अरे यार बैठो ना मजे कर रहे हैं बंद है सब कुछ घर में मौज करो, they have wasted the time. People have made millions of pounds because of this pandemic, because they look at the opportunity in this. And people who look opportunity in any circumstances, they will excel. You learned a lot. I learned a lot because we have the positive attitude. Now just think of Lal-ain. The second thing I think which you managed to get from this pandemic is your first prize Toastmasters international speech. You are in Pakistan and you gave a speech here in the UK. Wow. So that is the benefit. But you want to learn. You have your parents, the best thing what your parents did to you was created that learning atmosphere in your house. So they made that house a learning environment. Now with their positive attitude and your positive attitude, whatever action you are taking, Alhamdulillah, you are learning, you are growing, you are blooming, you are discovering who Lal-ain is. So that is, these 3 A's can change everything. But first, you must create that learning atmosphere.
Sorry, my mic was muted. I forgot. You are absolutely correct that we should have a learning atmosphere around ourselves in order to learn some new skills or anything that we want to learn. You see, before the pandemic, I really hated books, especially the ones that were in the school. Because in school, what is taught is actually the same inside our copies. and we have to revise it exactly the same and then write the same in our exams. This was the thing that I hated the most. But as the pandemic started taking over, I started to love my school books as well, especially the mathematics one. And I was really surprised how pandemic was changing me. I never liked maths. I never did. I'm being honest right now. I am the worst when it comes to math. But now I really love math. I love mathematics book, and this is the change that I got from the pandemic. So if I can change in this pandemic, so can you. But now I want to ask you, as you said that we should have a learning atmosphere in order to learn something. How are you going to advise to the people who are listening to us? How can they create a learning atmosphere? Because everyone wishes to learn. How are they going to create a learning atmosphere for themselves?
See, the best thing is, think about your school. Think about your school. Think about your classroom. When you go in your classroom, you have your particular chair, place where Lal-ain sits, right? That is your chair, right? So similarly, parent must create a little space in their house where child can sit and do their study. Now, question is this: they will say, "Oh, we don't have money to make a place in a house for children to study." That's fine. I can totally understand. I will not accept, even if a family is living in a one-room house, one room, झोंपड़ी के अंदर, I will not accept this, that they are unable to create a place for a child where he sit and study. All they do is to make a space 4 feet wide and 3 feet, 4 feet लंबाई और चौड़ाई में जो भी है, ठीक है. एक छोटी सी कुर्सी ले लें, तो कुर्सी है, अपना जमीन पे बैठ जाए बच्चा, टेबल ले ले, टेबल नहीं है, ब्लॉक लेके टेबल बना ले, वहां पे बच्चा बैठ जाए. But there must be a place where child can sit and do his study. Once that is done, then that child will understand, okay, when I sit in this place, I have to study. We don't have a spaces in our house, even though we have mansions. We don't have a spaces. For example, teacher come at school, home with the classes, okay, that's fine. But where teacher is sitting and the child is sitting and they have their 1 hour of teaching and then teacher leaves and child. But that is not the space for child to learn. That is a living room. So that is not the proper atmosphere, is it? So there must be a place in a house where children can sit and they can do their study. Once that is created, then that child will start to get understand. Just like a classroom, you learn or read or study in a classroom because you have your space there. You have all of the materials there. So that is what parents have to start doing in their houses. And once they do, believe me, they will not need any extra tuition because child will get motivated and they will start doing learning and teaching on their own. They will take the responsibility of their own study.
So that is how you can create your own learning atmosphere inside your house. I don't remember that if I have my own learning atmosphere inside my house, but all I do remember is the rules inside our house. You see, there is one day in a week when we are forbidden to use any sort of gadget. There are 3 or 4 days in a week that we have to complete at least 3 or 4 subjects in a day. And we have to submit it to our mother so that she could check it. And if we do something like some mistakes in our tests or anything that we submit, we've got to do it 5 days a week then. As of not as a punishment, but as to look through our mistakes and not follow the same mistakes again. So I think that learning atmosphere is not the only thing that you need in order to learn, but also the strictness. You have to prepare yourself, make your own rules so that you will be able to learn. You should be a little strict
I
on
do.
yourself. You see, in this way, you are just going to get a little bit lazy, like sitting on the couch all day, scrolling through Facebook or anything like that. That's just going to make us even more lazy. We have to put some rules on ourselves and be strict on ourselves so that we could learn something.
I totally agree with you. See, in a classroom, there are rules, right?
Yeah.
And when you see, when you're creating that atmosphere, there must be rules as well, because you cannot create atmosphere without a rule. So rules are part of that atmosphere. Consequences are part of that atmosphere. Routines are part of that atmosphere. And that's what happens in a school and in a classroom. So what your mother is doing, she has created that atmosphere, right? But she has also included other important thing which gonna support that atmosphere, like your rules, your consequences. So these things support that atmosphere. If they are not there, yes, one day you will say, okay, I will learn from it because it's on one day. But when you start to get bored, or when you start to get some kind of a relaxation and there are no rules, and so that atmosphere will fall down. So these things support that atmosphere. And that's why your mother is a teacher trainer, because she knows how to create, not just create, how to support that atmosphere. That is the important thing. You have created the atmosphere, but to get the 100% benefit from it, you must support that atmosphere as well. And that's when your rules, schemes, and other things comes.
That is absolutely correct. Now, I have one more question in mind. Despite the learning atmosphere, there are, you see, many different sorts of online courses that students can take, not only students, but even teachers. And I have, a really long list of different sorts of courses that mostly my mother assigns me to. So I have to complete different sorts of assignments that those online courses require. And sometimes when the course is, free and really effective, I recommend it to some people. Some people agree to sign in for the online course, but most of the people don't because of the language barrier. They say that this course is in English, how are we supposed to learn from it? So this problem, how can we solve it? This language barrier is coming in the way of the studying atmosphere. In this way, how are we going to learn the skills by just sitting at home if there is a language barrier between us? How are we going to solve that?
That is an excellent question. First, we must understand English is just a language. It's not a status symbol, right? And in order to learn English, you must speak English. You must talk in English. What we have done in Pakistan, we have created a new English language, which is Roman Urdu. That's what we have created. We are speaking in English, but in Urdu, but we are typing in English. Why are we doing this? That
Oh,
has
right. Like
created a,
when people talk on Messenger, the keyboard is in English. So they've created their own words in Urdu, but
yeah,
using the alphabets. That is called Roman
yeah,
Urdu.
yeah. That is Roman Urdu or Roman English, something like that. They type Urdu language in English.
Wow, that's
right.
skill.
So that is the biggest. Yeah, see, this has created a big challenge. Why don't you see you if you want to learn English, you must write in English, you must speaking in English. Don't worry about your grammar. There is a one research, Lexley, something like that. He did the research on this, and he said, if we, yes, grammar is important, but grammar will come second. First, must try to write and understand and speak English. If you don't know these things and you are looking at the grammar, you will never be able to understand, write or speak English. So first, just try to talk. And we want you to make a mistake, because that's how you will learn English. We see, English is a fear. English language is fear. And when you are in a fear, you cannot learn anything. Just imagine there is a 2, 3 years, 4 years child, and that child is scared of darkness, fear, right? So would you ask, if you ask that child to go in a room, dark room, he will never or she will never go in that room because of the fear. Once he goes in that dark room, and what happened, his or her fear is gone. Now, next time, if you ask that child to go in a dark room, he will go in a dark room without fear. So English language is fear, that we have a fear of speaking, we have a fear of talking, we have a fear of understanding. That is the challenge. And other thing is willpower. You must have a willpower to learn English. I was 18 years old. And one day I said, okay, I need to learn English. But at that time, we talk in English because English was not a status symbol. But I want to learn English. So what I went to market and then Friendship magazine. So from that magazine, I start to write to different. That's how I started learning English. My English is not perfect, but I don't have a fear of speaking in the wrong English. I don't fear about that. As long as my message is conveyed and I understand what other person is asking, I'm fine. I'm fine. Believe me, I'm fine. So that is how you will learn English. You must start communicating in English.
Well, I believe that my English is also not very perfect. I do also mispronounce some words. So perfect English is not what's very important. We should just focus on learning new skills. And just as you said, as long as the other person understands us in English, that's all we want. That's all.
Yeah,
You don't have to be
but
perfect in English.
your English is better than mine. So there you go.
But there's no
There
proof
you
that my English
go.
is
Your
better than
English is
yours.
better.
There's no proof.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's true. I'm dyslexic. I have a challenges pronouncing the word. Bade fast. I cannot pronounce those big words. No, my vocabulary is very limited because of my dyslexia. You, mashallah, you are writing stories in English. So I cannot do that. But you are there, you go. You are doing this. Alhamdulillah. Thanks to Allah. Thanks. Your parents should be very proud of yourself that you are doing an excellent job, Lal-ain.
Well, you can also write a story if you want. I don't know if you really are dyslexian, and I don't know how it really feels like to be a dyslexian. But all that I know is your English is also perfect. Believe that. Okay? And everyone should do it like that. That is also a technique to learn English in a better way. Trust me. Just trust yourself that your English is
The
perfect.
reason, the,
Yes.
the reason I can speak in English and I understand English is because I have worked very hard. I have worked very hard, and I've been living in the UK. I've been living in the UK for about 30 years, just over 30 years. तो यहाँ पे तो इंग्लिश ही में बात करनी है ना बेटा. अगर इंग्लिश में बात नहीं करूँगा तो मेरी तो उर्दू कोई समझेगा ही नहीं, ना पंजाबी नहीं समझेगा, सो मरता क्या नहीं करता. I have to. But believe me, when I came to UK, I had few difficult years to understand because of the slang words, because of the accents, like Scottish accent is different, Northern Ireland is different, Manchester. My son, he was born in Luton. He speak to me in conversation. I tell him, I ask, slow down. Accents are so difficult here to understand. But Alhamdulillah, Summa Alhamdulillah, I'm doing all right. I can understand these people and I can convey my message. Allah, Allah, etc.
Okay, taking a look at the time, I think we should wrap up our discussion because it's almost like 7:23. And I'd like to thank you for joining me for this session, especially for Teachers' Day.
Thank you.
So let's
Thank
together
you
wish
very much.
everyone a happy Teachers' Day. And
thank you very much. I want to wish my teachers, Allah unki maghfirat kare, give them a highest space in Jannatul Firdaus, and whatever I am right now is because of my teachers. At that time, teachers were really teachers. They wanted us to be successful because they were not after money or things. They were really after our futures. And Alhamdulillah, thanks to my teachers, I'm right now. What I'm doing, it's due to my teachers. So I wish them very happy Teachers' Day. And I want to thank you for inviting me for this session. And I'm proud of you, Lal-ain. I'm really, really proud of you because at your age, students, children at your age, if they are doing things, if they start doing things what you are doing, then Pakistan have a very bright future, believe me.
well, we can't be sad at that. We just can hope and pray that the future generation could be hardworking. I hope so. And we can also hope that Pakistan will have a bright future, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Okay, and I'll thank the audience for listening to us and being here with us. Okay, my arrow is definitely not working. Yeah. Thank you, and we will see you next time, inshallah.
Inshallah.